9012, and this year we're recommending funding of 8.8, with a vacancy factor of 80 full allocated positions with a 5% vacancy factor. The sheriff's budget is being funded with the same, with a vacancy factor. The sheriff's budget they had submitted their budget to come in with 3.9 million shortfall. We are budgeting a 11,069,108 as compared to last year's net county cost of 10.5. There is a vacancy factor associated with this net county cost, but we're projecting that there is full funding for all positions. The public defender budget is also got a vacancy factor included in it. There is recommended full funding. The CEO is recommending full funding of all positions, less, and I might say that all of these departments have auditor's adjustments for market rate adjustments and insurance increases or decreases. There's vehicle replacement as well taken into account in these departments' budgets for the recommended funding. The alternate defender and the public defender are both being recommended to have full funding for positions. We did an analysis to look at the costs of services provided by private attorneys for the alternate defender's budget, and we have found that the costs for doing outside private attorneys for conflict cases would end up costing the county more money than it would be to actually fund the attorneys at full funding. The CGIF criminal justice funds included in the conflict or alternate defenders budget is $219,000 this year. There has been some increase in caseload in some of the conflict cases due to retaining private attorneys for conflict cases. Moving down to the...
Just a quick comment.
Sure.
The district attorney must be happy because she just left the room.
She didn't cover that.
Moving right along.
Moving down to the probation budget. The probation budget also has, we are recommending full funding for the positions, for all their positions at status quo. All of these budgets recommended this year are at status quo. There are no new positions, and there is some vacancy factors. If there's normal turnover or vacancy occurring in these budgets, those have been taken into consideration as submitted, and we are funding for those positions. There is some CGIF funds or criminal justice funds, to clarify the acronym, of $40,000 in the probation budget this year.
Time out here just a second. Supervisor Smith.
Yes, I just wondered, for the public's information, we skipped over the district attorney's budget. You didn't comment on that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I sure did. I'm sorry. Let me go back to it. Okay. In the district attorney's budget, the CEO is recommending full funding with the exception of one position to remain vacant, which is the investigator position. There are several factors that were taken into consideration in the district attorney's budget. One is we looked at several different reductions in line items. There's utilizing some salary savings due to reclassing of the business services manager to an analyst position, which is a savings of $83,000. And as I just stated, a vacant position of an investigator position, which is another $100,000 savings. There was an underfilling of a position for the account specialist position from a 3 to a 2. And there was utilization of asset forfeiture for training included for $20,000. And there was some professional services and special department expense adjustments. All of these we reviewed with the district attorney's office, and these were also some suggested recommendations from the district attorney's office as well. So we basically looked and analyzed at their budget and feel like we have their budget at full funding, less that one position, but they're still at bare bones as far as funding. I mean, it's status quo, bare bones, making adjustments down to trying to stay to just the necessities.
Ms. Wyatt, last year at budget time, we discussed the evolution of our county attorneys. And part of that discussion with a strike, negotiations, et cetera, was the direction of the board for implementation of a time study to correlate if we had the correct staffing levels of attorneys, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, as far as I was concerned, in both the DA's office and public defender, where are we in making sure that we're getting the biggest bang for the buck in regards to the number of attorneys that we have?
We basically asked for and requested a time study to be done and some statistical information. Mr. Mitchell had sent a memo to the DA and to the Public Defender's Office, and we requested this information from them. At this point in time, we did get some information back, but they have not been able to give us sufficient data out of their case management systems to provide us with enough information that we could analyze and look at whether or not the caseloads are in line with the amount of attorneys that are in these budgets or these departments. Therefore, but we can say that one thing that was stated in the analyzation and statistical information that was provided to us was that their caseload has and will continue to grow in the district attorney's office, mainly due to some cases prosecuted for marijuana cases and time spent on increased caseloads in that area. We are still looking at it and reviewing it. Ms. Glassy may have something to say.
I was going to say the district attorney is well aware of the board's direction on this, and when Jennifer referred to case management systems, I think one of the problems is there isn't a case management system. The computer system that they're working off of is a former generation one, and the concern regarding dealing with that is that there is a new court computer system coming in, and so we need to basically coordinate any upgrades that we do to our system along with what the courts are doing, and so that's slowing things down at this point. So that was one point I wanted to make, but we did ask for